In any event, this has been stayed. So there is no conviction. The conviction is stayed. The plea of guilty exists. There is no conviction. The possession of ammo, user of controlled substance is dismissed, and endangering a child, permit, present, sale is also dismissed. The offense description, drug third possession, the terms of disposition is stayed. The sentence details as to count 1. Local confinement, defendant is sentenced to 30 days in the jail. Defendant is to serve 30 days. Credit for time served, 2 days. May be deferred if compliant with probation. The start date, theoretically, August the 1st, if he violates before then. Monitoring, ordered. Defendant is placed on supervised probation for 5 years, monitored by Candy-Ohio County Probation. Conditions for probation. Defendant must comply with the following conditions. Do not use or possess alcohol or drugs except as prescribed. Random testing. Submit to random drug and alcohol testing as directed by agent and or law enforcement. Must submit a baseline test as soon as possible. Cognitive skill training. Cooperate with cognitive skill programming as directed by your agent. Remain law-abiding. Sign a probation agreement and comply with probation and meet with an agent as directed. Do not use or possess firearms, ammunition, or explosives. So no firearms for you for 5 years either. So you don't get your guns back. Very sad. Obtain permission from an agent before leaving the state. Follow all state and federal criminal laws. Contact probation as directed. Tell your probation officer within 72 hours if you have contact with law enforcement. Any contact, incidentally. If you're pulled over for a speeding ticket. Right? Tell your probation officer within 72 hours if you're charged with any new crime. Tell your probation officer within 72 hours if you change your address, employment, or telephone number. Sign releases of information as directed. So again, you know, all those privacy protections you have, not so much, right? You know that HIPAA, not so much. If you need to sign a waiver, sign a waiver. You have to. You are required. Cooperate with search of your person, residence, vehicle, workplace, property, and things as directed by probation, and follow all recommendations of discharge by Divine Hope Counseling, ordered by the judge, also to perform 80 hours of community service, which no one cares, right? No one really cares. The 30 days is not the thing. The community service is not the thing. The conviction is the thing, right? Who cares if it's 30 days or not? No one really cares. You know, does it really matter if it's another 28 days? Probably not. The judge would probably even let him serve it like ever on the weekends or something. He probably wouldn't even send him for 28 days continuously when it came down to it. Right? So like, I mean, I don't know that for a fact. I'm just guessing. Right? So if he's like, you know, this is inconvenient, I only want to serve on the weekends, he probably could do that. Probably. So the 28 days isn't really the thing. No one cares. I mean, really, no one cares. Like the community service, 80 hours. What's 80 hours of community service? It's nothing, right? No one cares, right? What do you really care about? What you really care about is the conviction. What you really care about is the felony conviction. Because the felony conviction, of course, is a bitch. The felony conviction stays on your record forever. The felony conviction impacts your right to vote. It impacts, of course, your right to own guns forever. It also inhibits international travel. It also appears on any background check for any future job you might want to get. A felony conviction is a bitch. Also, it probably will pop up almost certainly as if a government agent runs your identifying information. So if you are pulled over for a violation, like if you're pulled over for speeding and they run your name, that felony conviction shows up. That might influence what the officer might do relating to that traffic stop. So it might make future traffic stops more inconvenient. It can make things a bitch. So the felony conviction is the thing, but for the moment deferred. But 5 years, man, 5 years is a long time to not reoffend. Commit no new offenses, commit no new crimes, don't drink, don't use alcohol. For 5 years, that is a long time. It's also worth noting, of course, incidentally, that just because he violates doesn't necessarily mean his probation will necessarily be violated. It isn't necessarily a guarantee. So he could theoretically do something and the judge determines not to violate him, right? So that's a possibility, lest, someone say, actually again. So it is possible that he could, test positive for alcohol or test even positive hypothetically for drugs that aren't prescribed, and the judge doesn't violate him. That could happen. But of course, you're at the mercy of the judge at that point. You're at the mercy of the judge. They can And now you're just at their largesse. And how much largesse do you think they're necessarily going to have for you? How much do you want to play this game? Some judges are more lenient than others. How much do you want to play this game? It's a dangerous game to play. So could he violate once and not get, a conviction? Sure. Could he violate 5 times and not get a conviction? Possible. But it's up to the judge's largesse. So you probably don't want to play that game, right? Even if they caught him traveling without permission, because that would be a violation of his terms, right? If he did travel, if he decided to travel out of state without telling his probation officer, that would technically be a violation. If the probation officer found out about it, for example, maybe he posted videos or images or photographs or someone else did or whatever, like that would technically be a violation, right? And also if he doesn't show up when probation wants him to, right? If they don't show up when he's ordered to, if he doesn't show up exactly on time, it's like you need to show up at 10 a.m. and he shows up at 10:30. That's technically a violation. So depending on how anal they want to be, depending on how much a pain in the ass the probation officer wants to be, depending on how exacting, right? If they want to go to the line, if they want to go to the limits of what they can do, probation can be a real dick. Not every probation officer is a real dick. Not all of them are real hard asses, but some of them are. And if they want to violate you because you showed up at 9:30 and not 9 o'clock, they can. If they want to violate you because you tested positive for alcohol, they can. And then the judge can sentence you. So how much of this game do you want to play? How lucky do you feel, punk? 5 years. 5 years. So, yeah, it's a pain in the ass. And, I hope for Nick's own sake that he's able to comply with all this. He has made statements recently where he has indicated that he's not necessarily sorry for what he did. He's sorry for what it did to his family. He's sorry for how it hurt his family, but he's not necessarily sorry for the underlying conduct itself. He has made statements recently that indicate that he's not necessarily apologetic for the underlying conduct. What it did to his family, yes. What it did to his children, yes. But not necessarily the underlying conduct. And that's not necessarily suggestive of the strongest potential to remain clean indefinitely. If he's of the view of I like drugs, which he's made statements, at least in the past, that could be viewed as him saying, I like drugs. He's made statements that could be viewed along those lines. All right, well, I guess that will bring us to an end. And Nick, if you're out there, I really hope that, you're able to fix the problems that you had in the past. And I hope that you're able to both solve the underlying issues, whatever they were, and also solve the drug problems and alcohol use issues. And I speak to someone who has drank too much in the past. I've never used illegal drugs, but I've definitely drank way too much in the past. So I hope that you're able to fix whatever the underlying problems were, if there were underlying problems. I hope you're able to do that, and also hope you're able to keep yourself clean. I hope you're able to do that for your own sake, as well as, of course, your family's sake. So that you can get past this and get through it and come out the other side, as a better person. So I really hope that you'll be able to make it. I really hope that you can overcome your problems, whatever they are, address whatever underlying issues there are, and also keep sober. Those aren't quite the same thing. I hope you're able to do both. I wish you the best going forward. I hope you're able to pull this through. The Nick I knew a couple years ago when I visited his house was someone that I at the time considered myself a friend of. And I hope maybe someday in the future I can meet that person again. That would be nice. I hope someday in the future I can meet that person again. I really hope it will come together for you. I really do. So I wish you the absolute best.